the chain guides, or it could be just the front brakes or the rear brakes for that matter. Maybe catching something they would normally go forward, they're just catching it in reverse. So the best way to try to run that down is, as you're moving it backwards, have somebody move their ears closer to those two locations to see if you can identify what's going on. Did you get that last message, Garrett? We're offline. Okay. All right, we'll keep going. Darren Green, I've got a Grizzly 100 and it's not charging. Can I put, not charger, can I put aftermarket parts on? Okay, I assume you're talking about using an aftermarket either stator or the regulator rectifier. I would probably shy against that, especially with those two, considering they are so important as far as keeping the machine at the proper voltage. I'd be afraid to use anything aftermarket if I were you. But your call, but there's so many things that are centered around having the correct voltage. I would be a little leery of doing that. So think twice before you do that. All right, two, I have a 400EX, runs perfect, but when I change it to second, I would change it to two, I assume you mean second gear, it makes a weird noise, like a chain hitting something, but I can't find what it could be. Huh, it's only in second gear that it's doing this? And this may be looking at the obvious. Are you sure that you have your actual chain tension correct on the machine? Maybe it needs to be adjusted and it's putting so much torque in that second gear shift that it's making the chain hit something that it should not be because it's too loose. So start with the simple stuff first and then work toward it. All right, David's asked me, hey John, any chance of straightening a Raptor 7 top and how? Oof. Pretty sure the front end of the Raptor 700 is going to be aluminum, is it not? And the thing about aluminum, it's a great metal, easy to form. It's bent. It does not like to bend back, and it typically will crack. So I would be a little leery of it. You can try to manhandle it, pull it back into position. Chances are it's probably going to crack on you. So you may look at just replacing it, unfortunately. All right, Victor is asking me, hello from Greece, and thank you for all the wonderful videos. You are welcome. I have a Honda CBR 600RR 2008. I think we worked on one of those a couple of years ago. I recently changed the brake lines and repaired the front master cylinder. Since then, I experienced vibration. So you're telling me when you actually go into the brake, hit the brakes, that you're experiencing a vibration? Anything to do with the, because typically when you feel some type of pulsing or a vibration while when you're on the brakes hard, that tells me either that, which is kind of highly unlikely, or you may have half. And when I'm talking about that, if you've got too many deposits, if you've really heated up the rotors to the point that they're really using them hard, they will actually leave deposits on the rotor itself. The brake pads will, and those will cause like a juddering like this, like a vibration. And that may be what you're going through. And if that is the case, do this. Go ahead and change out your rotors, because getting off that material once it's embedded at that temperature on a rotor is extremely difficult to do. They make a couple of different, they're not really sanding discs, but they're more like a, oh shoot, what's the word I'm talking about? It's used to remove those high spots on the rotor. I've experienced that on my track day car. So did it work? Yes. Was I really happy with the results? No. I ended up replacing the rotors. But hey, give it a shot. Okay. Victor came back again. When braking, this is very intense, above 60 miles an hour. Could this be from the repair? I don't believe it's the rotors, because right before these changes I had no problem. Still, I would go back and look at those rotors. I mean, because what you're describing to me is completely indicative of the high spot being on there. And no problem, my English isn't that great either. All right, Darren's asking me, hi John, I've got a Grizzly 700, 2016, another one, and it won't charge. If I replace the stator and regulator, would this cure it? And it is okay to use aftermarket parts. Yeah, I think we already addressed using the aftermarket stuff, and if you would go through and test your regulator and your stator before you just go replacing everything, because chances are it's going to be one or the other. It probably will not be both. But there's one other thing you need to take into consideration, and it's a long shot, but I've actually seen it. You have to make sure that the actual wiring harness on the unit is up to snuff. And so as far as going aftermarket, just be wary, because as I said earlier, everything centers around that vehicle having the correct voltage, not too high, not too low. So be careful if you decide to go aftermarket. All right, Roy's asked me, are the zerk fittings on a Polaris Sportsman 850 something special? My parts store grease gun doesn't seem to seal or snap on. No, it's a standard fitting, and I understand your aggravation, and I can tell you the gun, or the type of gun that works best for me, is most of the guns out there, you've got the cartridge, and then it has just a rigid pipe and has the grease fitting on the end of it. Those really don't seem to attach very well. I usually use one that has the cartridge, then it has a rubber hose, and it has a shorter section of the actual grease gun fitting. That seems to have a better chance of latching on. As a matter of fact, I believe that Polaris actually makes one. It's actually a mini gun that's only about this long. That makes it a lot easier to get into those tight places, up in the suspension. So you may want to take a peek at that. And guys, if you would send him a link to that particular Polaris gun, so you can take a peek at it. All right, Mr. Aiden is asking me about a 2004 Raptor, Yamaha Raptor 660R starting problem sometimes. There's nothing, not even a click for 3 or 4 times, but then it starts. Chances are this is going to be one of two things. Either it's going to be your actual starter switch that's not engaging the starter solenoid correctly, or it's going to be the starter solenoid. But you're telling me you don't even hear a click when you're hitting the button, and then all of a sudden you hear it go. So go back to the back, do a continuity test with your actual start switch with the test light, see if it's getting triggered. If it's getting triggered, well, then you know it's going to be your starter solenoid. Go ahead and replace it. Freddie's asking me, a 2006 Rancher 350, can a flooding carb make it smoke? Typically, no. If the smoke is usually indicative of it trying to burn oil, and a flooding carb isn't going to do that. A dry smoke, okay? That sounds like it's going to be coming from the rings possibly. So do a compression test, and if you can do it. Hey baby, I'm doing a live video. Can I call you back in just a little bit?
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Okay.
I just need a quick question.
It's my wife, guys. Hold on.
Sorry.
Hold on a second. Garrett, you want to step in for a minute and answer a couple of questions? Come on, buddy, do it. Baby, I'm going to have to call you back. I'm literally live streaming right now. All right, I'll call you in minutes. All right. All right. My wife. Oy vey. All right, let me get refocused here, guys. Whew. All right, John's asking me, hey, hi, I need some help with a 2003 Grizzly 660. The display was not coming on when turning on the main switch. I moved the wires a bit, display came on. Later on, I heard the machine trying to start itself, oh boy, with the kill switch and main switch off. Turned on the main switch and it started, shut off main switch, and it continued to try and start. Kill switch would not shut it off, and I had to disconnect the battery. Boy, do you have a main harness problem. there's no doubt. Something has gone drastically wrong somewhere on the main harness, and you've got wires making connections when they absolutely shouldn't be making contact. We actually had, or we still have a Grizzly 700 that had a similar condition just on the start switch. It was actually melted in there, and the wires were making contact. So unfortunately, you are going to have to pull the plastics and find out what's going on, because I guarantee you there's going to be some burnt wires or some wires that got so hot that they are actually connected inside of that harness somewhere. So that's not going to be a whole lot of fun, but you've got no other choice but to start picking that apart. Good luck, and let us know how it goes with it. Garrett, I think you may be able to help me on this one. Junior is asking me, he's got a Suzuki Gixxer K7, replaced the clutch master cylinder, added hydraulic clutch switch, and it seems to be throwing an F1 light up code. How can I cure this? What were you telling me about the clutch switch, and it was causing an issue about a week ago?
When was that? I'm trying to remember the problem. You know what the problem was? Because I want to say
it was an F1 light lighting up. Was that something to do?
That was with Power Commander.
That was with the Power Commander. Any chance you've got a Power Commander on this thing by chance? All right. I'd say take a look. Make sure you don't have a Power Commander. Your clutch switch shouldn't be throwing an F1 light. That's an odd one. Let us research that one, because that's piquing my curiosity, and we'll get back to you on that, Junior. All right, Ryan's asking me, having issues charger for 14 hours. Any ideas? Well, a couple of questions. What type of battery, what's the amp hour, and what kind of charger are you using? 14 hours, I mean, even at if it's a 14 amp hour battery and you're using a battery tender, they're going to charge 1 to 3 amps, and it shouldn't take near that long. At 1 amp, it should be taking 14 hours at the most. So give me some more information, and the better, a little bit better. Junior says, I do have a Power Commander 5, but please do get back to me. Thank you. Take a look at that, because we've run into this before, throwing that FI code because of the Power Commander, and I think it was, what, a ground on there? Yes. Yeah, check your ground on that PC5 and make sure, because if it doesn't have a good ground, it can cause the problems that you're talking about. So check that one, then let us know, and we'll do more research on our end as well. Just a little bit, so we'll do one more question, and then I'm going to duck out of here before I get in trouble with her. Never a dull moment. All right. All right, Ryan's giving me more information. It's a 12 amp Yuasa battery, 1 amp. Then I can believe it took 14 hours, but it should be getting very close to receiving a full charge. And you said it was, no, you didn't tell me what type of charger it was. Is the type of charger going to give you some type of indication as to whether it's charged? And hopefully it's a smart charger. So give me the model number of the charger, and I can tell you. But yes, at only 1 amp, yeah, it's going to take a minimum of 12 hours to charge your battery all the way up. So you're really not out of the realm of how long it should take. Well, all right, guys, I need to call my wife back, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this one maybe a little bit short. Well, listen, guys, we thank you once again for coming out and spending a little bit of time with us, and the people that didn't completely answer their questions, we'll do a little bit more research, and then we'll hawk you back down. And if we can't get in touch with you, we will lead off next week with those answers for those particular questions. Well, listen, once again, we want to say thank you for just dropping by, spending a little time with us. And if you're shopping with us at Partzilla.com, we want to thank you for that as well. We are starting to get caught up on our what I call our COVID-19 shipping. So thanks for being patient with us on that. Listen, thank you, and we will see you next Friday, and y'all have a great weekend and a safe week. God bless.